So now the Russians are talking about Greenland on their state TV with Solyov Live and things like that. It's unbelievable to me that we're even talking about Greenland, but here we are. Syria, okay, that made sense. The Russians were in Syria, but Greenland, I was scratching my head. Okay, but this is important, guys, and so you're going to see why. So we're going to get to this little clip. It's about a minute long about them talking about it, but first I want to give you some background. So about 3 days ago, I started talking about why are we talking about Greenland and trying to understand and unpack this. And then I saw this and I thought, wow, you got to see this. The Russian babushkas were talking about how Denmark, you need to repent. Don't give Greenland to those United States. You need to bow before Putin. And seriously, that's what they were saying. You got to watch that video. And then yesterday it clicked. So it made sense. I explained the geopolitical importance of Greenland and why it's in the news right now. And so this kind of draws that all together. So we're going to talk about it. But before this, I was just thinking of Greenland like a big ice cube. I didn't realize how geopolitically important Greenland actually was. So now we're going to turn our attention to what they're saying on Russian state media. And remember that whenever they're saying something in Russian state media, they're saying it for a reason. This is scripted. This isn't like, hey, what's your idea? How do you think about this? They're really trying to draw some attention a particular direction. So let's hear what they have to say, and I'll pause periodically and amplify certain points. Okay, so here we are. We need Greenland. No joke is what he starts out saying. Trump is staking his claim to Greenland. Why don't we look at Greenland? We need Greenland. No joke. At very least, we could make a deal with Trump and split Greenland into a couple of pieces. Well, I'm not sure that you could do that because the reason that Trump seems to want it is for both military defense purposes and for mining and mineral rights and things along those lines. So, as well as navigation rights and that sort of thing. So, I don't know that you could make a deal with Trump on that sort of thing. Okay, it's clear that Denmark will never be there again. I'm not sure. I mean, Denmark seems to be there already. They're constitutionally tied to Greenland, and they've given them more freedoms as their own, independent people, but they're still constitutionally tied to Greenland. Okay, and then they say this Svalbard. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's part of Norway. I've never heard of Svalbard before, and I could even be pronouncing it all wrong. And if you're Norwegian, please forgive me and correct me. So it's this island over here near Greenland. I was barely paying attention to Greenland, let alone this island that I didn't know belonged to Norway before this. But Svalbard, which is very close to our northern fleet, is extremely important to us today. So now it's kind of a little saber-rattling-ish toward Norway, maybe. Okay, there will be some nice bases there affecting the whole Arctic component. Now, the Russians are really interested in the Arctic. In more recent years, they have been focused on what they could be doing, staking a claim to the Arctic, trying to expand their footprint in the Arctic, making their presence larger there. And there's some reasons for that. One is as there is some warming, it seems, sea lanes are opening a little bit. The Chinese are interested. The Russians are interested. Chinese, for some reason, I don't understand. But I think that's for mineral exploration rights. And Russians, it's for territorial and offense. I was going to say defense, but not defense purposes, offensive purposes as well. Okay, there might be some nice bases there. Today, we need to clearly increase the military component in the Arctic based on the conditions that are taking place, including in Ukraine. We are only looking at Ukraine, aren't we? Okay, so they're saying on state TV that we need to increase our presence in the Arctic, and so they're even looking at Greenland. The Arctic is a second and larger issue that has already begun. And we need to sit down and clearly calculate everything. War, as we've always said, is math. We have to sit down and do the math. The main thing is to build a proper defense there. We need to build such a defense that no one will think of sticking their heads into our what? The Arctic. Of all the forms of defense, I like the offensive best. Okay, so they're talking about it on Russian state media. And again, remember, it's all scripted. So when they're talking about it, there's a reason that they're talking about it. So tell me what you think about that. And then I want to also show you this. Trump's Greenland plan. This is in Reuters. This isn't, some fly-by-night something. The U.S. House of Representatives seeks support for a bill on possible purchase. No joke, this was updated 13 hours ago on January 13th. It's January 14th as I'm talking today. Washington, 13 January, Reuters. President-elect Donald Trump's Republican allies in the U.S. House of Representatives are trying to build support for a bill on authorizing talks on the purchase of Greenland, according to a copy of the bill circulated for co-sponsors on Monday. The bill is called Make Greenland Great Again Act. The offices of Republican U.S. Representatives Andy Ogles, who is leading the bill, and Diana Harshberger said. The copy of the draft was reported earlier by Fox News Digital and had 10 co-sponsors as of Monday morning. So what will the bill do? The bill, if passed, will allow the president to enter into negotiations with Denmark on 20 January when Trump takes office. So the bill doesn't actually do anything but allow them to have a conversation. Congress hereby authorizes the president, beginning at 12:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 20th, 2025, to seek to enter into negotiations with the Kingdom of Denmark to secure the acquisition of Greenland by the United States, the bill's draft says. Well, if we go back to this video here with Why Talk About Greenland, Anders Buck-Nielsen was talking about how a negotiation with Denmark isn't exactly it because the Greenland people have their own kind of independence, and so maybe you have to deal with them. But at any rate, the point was that the U.S. Congress is trying to actually move forward with this. Now, yesterday I saw this. I posted this and somebody said, "Heads up, the professor regurgitates Fox News talking points." Now, I've made it clear to my viewers that I'm a conservative. I also try to be as fair as possible. Here are some other Fox News talking points. Wow. Fox News is on the ground in Greenland, and most of the people they've interviewed do not want to join the U.S. Where did Trump and Don Jr. get the idea that most people in Greenland are MAGA? Well, they kind of staged something. But here's what they said on Fox News.
And the hot topic here has been President-elect Trump's comments about buying this Danish territory. Take a listen.
A lot about Trump and also their opinion about Trump.
I hate it. And basically, I don't know what he's aiming at.
Me personally, I want to stick with Danish government.
Well, most of the people that we talked with said that they did not support Trump's comments and found them offensive.
So most of the people in Greenland do not actually support this. So we'll see what happens. Remember, all 5 parties in Greenland's parliament also oppose Trump's notion to make the autonomous island part of the United States. Greenland is in the center of a geopolitical struggle between Russia, who keeps expanding into the Arctic, and the free world. So Greenland has become strangely important in recent days, geopolitically, as is this island chain from the Norwegians that I probably mispronounced that I've never heard of until just now. Now, I said yesterday, and I'll say it again. If you want to assure that the Chinese or the Russians don't establish military or mining bases in Greenland, just be nice. You can find places where both countries can get along and both prosper for whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. That's a much better plan than what I described yesterday as kind of a hostile takeover in a business sense, which seems to be what Trump was trying to accomplish by talking about this. At any rate, that's all that I have. Tell me what you think. Put that in the comments below. Thank you for the likes and the shares and the subscribes, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.